Yay Networks.
Hey guys, my name is Heather Lindsey.
And my name is Cornelius Lindsey.
And I'm so excited that you landed on Life with the Lindseys.
This is so exciting. This gives us an opportunity to share our life with yours.
Yes, we're going to be talking about everything from entrepreneurship to ministry to your purpose to why you are here, family, parenting, relationships, marriage, sex, you name it. We are talking about it.
So thank you so much for joining us today with Life with the Lindseys. Enjoy it.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome to Life with the Lindseys. We're not on video yet, but we gonna get on video soon. So if you're watching this on YouTube,
we got some things in store. We're gonna hook y'all up.
We're gonna hook y'all up. We got y'all. We're just still trying to get settled and moved into our home. Our kids had started school and we got a lot going on. So, but we've been consistent though, babe. We have not missed a week.
We have not missed a week.
And we've been doing this podcast every single Friday since December of what, 2019?
2019.
Was it 2019 or 2018?
I want to say
it was 2018.
Was it 18?
Yeah.
I think it was 18. You sure it was 18?
Well, y'all, it's been every single week for a couple years now.
Yeah.
And, you know, and we pretty much record real time. So we love you guys. We appreciate your support.
Yes. And we really appreciate y'all being, y'all rocking with us. I think one of the things that is so like alarming right now is just looking at all the reports and listen to all the stories of those individuals who are in Afghanistan. But you had to think that it's not just people in Afghanistan. It's Christians in Asia, throughout Asia.
Yeah.
Christians in other some war torn places who are being persecuted for the gospel's sake. And I think it really gives us a different perspective, or at least it should. It should provide a different perspective for people to be able to look and say, hold up. So people are dying for just a proclamation of the gospel.
Isn't that crazy?
Like they're not even like, they're not killing them asking like, what denomination are you? They're not like, what are you? You Pentecostal? Or you Baptist? Are you Methodist? They're not. They're killing for the proclamation of the gospel. While we're arguing about the semantics of the gospel.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't want to get into the political side of it. I talked about it on my podcast, to be honest. I had a conversation on there with one of my homies about it. And, the political side of it is what it is. But yeah, it's crazy out here.
As you're talking, it just made me think of 2 Timothy 2:4. And it says, no soldier on service entangles himself in the affairs of this life, that he may please the one who enrolled him as a soldier. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like you think about what people are going through in Afghanistan. And this whole week, I've just been having a hard time praying for my own personal things, because in comparison to what I need is so vastly small in comparison to what they need, the people in Haiti, the people in China, the people in other countries, Afghanistan, that are being killed for the gospel of Jesus. It just, for me, it helps to give me a different perspective, and it's almost humbling. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that y'all are worried about right now, like these people, and I don't want to compare, but what I'm saying is for perspective's purpose, like, are you entangled in the affairs of this earth?
Yeah.
Like, that's real. Like, I feel like we get so caught up, babe, in the everyday, I need to reach my goals. I need to produce all this content. I need to do all this stuff. But it's just like, I believe that the day is going to come in America one day where we're going to be questioned for our faith too at some point. You know what I mean?
I think that's already starting.
Oh, for sure.
I said this many years ago, and I had a little pushback from it. But what I believe is, that the Bible says that Jesus Christ, he's coming back for a church without spot or without wrinkle. And most people assume that he's coming back for a church that's holy, and that's where they get holiness. He's coming back for a holy church, and I don't necessarily think that's what the verse is saying. In fact, what I believe is that when you're a bride, in order for you to get the wrinkles out of your dress, you have to apply heat.
Yeah.
And I believe that heat is synonymous for persecution. And it's something about persecution that, number one, it brings you closer to God. I mean, because you look in the scripture and it was David who says, was it David? Who said, I what did he say? It was, I rejoice in your, I can't even think of it right now. But it's like it was because of the discipline, or because of it, it's like, he was able to say, well, because of it, I was able to learn your precepts. I was able to know you more. Yeah. Like David, and if you read through Psalms, that's when the king was made. The king was made in the cave in the midst of persecution when Saul was coming after him and things were happening. So, I think persecution is not something that's just coming. I think that persecution is what is here now, and it's only a matter of time before it makes its way. But I mean, right now we're spoiled.
We're so spoiled.
The westernized culture is extremely spoiled. It's extremely spoiled. It is extremely comfortable.
Oh, it is.
It's comfortable.
We're not worried about anybody breaking down our door and attacking our family. You know what I mean? Yeah. Our concern is, our kids in the right school. Yeah. And real quick, what you just said made me think of Hebrews 5:8. And it says, although Jesus was God's son, he learned obedience through the things that he suffered. Yeah. And it's real. And I feel like we have too, right? And I feel like that iron is coming in, and it's literally, the kids are
she's fine.
Okay. Fine. It's literally pressing out all the issues.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know. This whole week the past couple of weeks have just been a perspective check for me. Yeah. Yeah, it's been crazy because,
you on one hand, you don't want to it's almost like I'm not going to feel guilty for just going on living my life. Yeah. I got to keep moving forward. I got to keep, this is not to say that you go off on the deep end and you say, well, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit down and just pray all day long. I got to continue to move forward. I got to continue to progress and all those kind of things. But at the same time, it does give you a different perspective, just how comfortable and how spoiled we are. Consider this. I mean, I pastored for almost 10 years, and I get people who would say, oh, well, I didn't go to church on Sunday. And I'm not saying that going to church makes you a Christian. If going to church makes you a Christian and sitting in a garage should make you a car. But I do believe that because we are so comfortable, we leave comfortable homes. Yeah. Air-conditioned, heated homes. Yeah. To get in air-conditioned, heated cars, to drive comfortably to a air-conditioned or heated building.
That's real.
To sit down in a mostly comfortable chair, to sit down and hear, probably a rehearsed message, and to get rehearsed worship with fog and lights all over the place, and then take our children to a comfortable children's church, and then grab our stuff and get back in a comfortable car and go back to our comfortable home where we still complain about small things. Yeah. And I think it just shows just how ungrateful we are. It's hard. And then, nowadays you have people who are turning away from the faith too. Yeah. You have that as well. And I don't knock anybody who does. I believe that everybody is on their own personal journey. And, I'm not going to judge them for the journey that they're on. I think that if there's ever been a time to truly be serious about your faith, I think now is that time.
Yeah. I just feel like it's a wake up call. We all just need to wake up and be like, you know what? If you spending all your time comparing your life to everybody else, you're trolling people on social media, you're constantly, running on empty, you don't feel good about yourself. Maybe it's time to pull back from everything and say, you know what? I'm going to get serious about my walk with the Lord for real. Right. Like Jesus is coming back. You can look around the world and see that he's coming back. And not only that, life is but a vapor. I don't want to spend my whole life miserable. Right. You don't know when your life is going to end. And I just want to live my best life every single day as much as I can. Right. Right. Even if it's a little imperfect.
You can talk about that. You can talk about that a little bit if you want to.
And I just want to, I guess, segue into this. So, and we don't have a topic yet. I guess we'll come up with
Yes, we do. It's just really changing our perspective. Stop being so doggone comfortable.
Yeah, true. So I struggle with perfectionism, and it's something the Lord is really just setting me free from right now. But essentially, if you struggle with perfectionism, you have this attitude that everything is going to go your way.
Right.
And you're never going to have disappointments.
Right.
Ever. And you begin to pattern your mind to think that everything is going to go your way. And I think it's good to have hope, and it's good to, put your hope in the Lord and have joy in all those different things. But if you don't embrace weakness, if you don't embrace difficult times, then when they come your way, you're not going to be able to handle it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because you have this perfect idea of how things are supposed to go. And then when it doesn't go your way, you find yourself so frustrated. And that's me. And then it makes you want to control even more so you can get back to that safety comfort zone of your perfect life that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
And we talked about this earlier. I think yesterday I was just talking to you about it. I was like, I really had this bubble, and I did not agree with you about my bubble, but I want us to take a break really quick, and then let's talk about my perfect bubble. Can we talk about that perfect bubble?
Can we talk about that perfect bubble? And I think even in talking about that, I think a good way to be able to talk about that is for those individuals who are seeking therapeutic help.
Heck yeah.
And that's why we're really glad, for our sponsor, BetterHelp. They have been absolutely amazing in helping to reach a lot of our family, a lot of our friends, many of you who've listened in, who've actually, gone through with them. But you want to talk about BetterHelp?
Yeah. I mean, BetterHelp can help you with your perfectionism, your depression, your stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma. I mean, whatever you're going through, they literally can help you walk through it. It's not a crisis line, you guys. It's not self-help. It's a professional counseling done securely online. Within 48 hours, you'll be able to connect with a licensed therapist that will be able to walk out your journey with you. Everything you share is confidential, it's convenient, professional. And we want to offer you guys this. I want you to start living your happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/Lindseys. I want you guys to join over 1 million people that have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Lindseys.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah. My perfect bubble. So I don't know. I don't know where I got this from, babe. I'm trying to track it, and I'm going to talk to my therapist about this, but I'm trying to track where this perfectionist bubble began to grow,
right?
Like the perfect life. Right. And I think it might've stemmed back from fantasy when I was a young child. Right.
What do you mean?
Meaning like growing up in Michigan, I went to an all-white school. I'm the only person of color. I always felt like the grass was greener somewhere else, right? The grass is greener on the other side. When I achieve this, I'm going to be happy. When I get this, I'm going to be happy. When I get married, I'm going to be happy. So it's like I had this idea of how life was supposed to be. So I've created this perfect bubble. And in that bubble, as long as I can control everything, I'm going to be happy and everything's going to be great.
Right.
So then, get saved, give my life to Jesus. I understand there's persecution, tests, trials, hard times, but at the same time, I felt like, oh, when I get married, this will be what, everything will be perfect when I get married. So far from the truth. Everything's be perfect when I start walking in my specific purpose, right? We have a purpose to give glory to God, but we have specific purposes, and mine's preaching. So I'm like, oh, great. And then we start a church. Everything is going to be perfect. So I did not give myself any room for failure. And it's not even failure, but lessons learned. I didn't give myself room for difficult times because I'm like, it's not supposed to happen. Because as long as I do everything right, as long as I do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then everything's going to be fine.
Right.
1 + 1 is 2. So as long as I do the right thing, nothing bad will ever happen to me.
Right.
And that's not real. That's not realistic.
No.
But it made so much sense in my head, right? And that's why I think I'm really hardcore on like, what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. Because if we always do 1 + 1, it's always going to be 2. As long as we just do the right thing. Yeah. And you're going to have the great results.
Yeah. Since we've met, you've always been heavy on the judgment side.
Yeah.
Really
I
heavy.
judge myself so hard.
Yeah. You do.
You
beat yourself up.
I beat myself up. Yeah.
But so you've always been heavy on the judgment side, and in many ways, I don't. even though I kind of had my ways, I don't think I've ever really been heavy on that side as much as I feel like,
In the beginning you were.
with me. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But I guess, for me, I mean, like, when it comes to rules and stuff, I'm like, whatever, like, find the quickest way to get it done, whatever, like, screw this. So I don't really care. I'd be like, whatever, like, if you can get to Z without going through all the alphabet, do it. Like, go from A to J. If it's legal,
like,
do it.
no.
Whatever.
We have to
Don't
go
care.
A, B, C, D,
Absolutely
E, F, G,
not. If it's a
and then I
yellow
have
light, go
structure.
straight through it. Don't slow down. Go faster. Like, I'm not, whatever. The speed limit 70. Hit 80. Like,
And meanwhile, I'm
push
hovering
it.
around 65.
Is that because that's where it's like it's in that? But I think that a lot of that perfectionism comes from a desire to control.
And not just control, but acceptance.
Well, I mean but you got to ask yourself the question. I mean, where does that desire to control comes from? Because you want to. I mean, but you want to acceptance. You want to be accepted. You want to be able to control somebody else's perspective of you,
Right. That.
and to be able to accept you.
Exactly. So it's that. I mean, you're 100% right.
Because I don't have that.
Yeah, you don't. No, you don't. I want to be able to control my narrative, right? Of how people see me, but that's not. People are going to come up with their own conclusion. This one girl messaged me and she's like, I hated you because you were so cute. And I judged you really bad because of the way you looked. And then I listened to your podcast and I was like, wait, I love her and I love their marriage and they're real. And, it's just funny that people will judge you immediately, right?
That's why I don't care nothing about it.
Right. I mean, now I'm
you're
grown.
getting
yeah,
that.
I'm getting, I don't care.
I mean, that's why I tell you all the time, like, be a person of no reputation. People are like, well, I didn't like you. It's like, well, I didn't like you either. I don't even know you.
I don't care
And
anymore.
when you leave my presence right now, I mean, you neither add it or take it away
Yeah.
from my presence. Like, the fact that I didn't know you is pure evidence. The fact that I didn't know you and you hated me is pure evidence that your presence meant absolutely nothing to me.
Yeah.
And then when you leave my presence, you neither added or took away from it.
Yeah.
So I'll still be the same.
Yeah.
Nothing changed.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Some people are so concerned about that whole reputation piece, how people see me, and that's why they're trying to build a brand on how people see them instead of just being authentic. And it's like, I'm not doing that bull crap. I don't care about what these people think.
I think that stems from rejection in a lot of people, where it just says, and I'm actually doing a study on that on 365withheather.com. If you guys want to sign up, and we were doing a month-long study on just rejection. And that's what I found with Rejection Babe.
Mm-hmm.
I just found that people that have been rejected before in the past crave so bad to control how people see them. They want everybody to accept them. They want everybody to like them. They feel like if you don't like me, that means that you're rejecting me, and that's a hit on me, right? And so what I'm learning and continuing, especially in the world of perfectionism, is that number one, hard times are going to come.
Right.
Everybody's not going to like you.
Right.
And it's okay. There's 7 billion people on this earth. I read this study that said 10% of the people you meet will not like you.
Yeah. That's
right.
fine.
And that's fine. And it's okay. But I've had to let go of the control.
Yeah.
And letting go of the control is giving me an opportunity to be like my authentic self.
Yeah.
And it allows for me to be weak.
Yeah.
Because I always felt like I'm not allowed to be weak.
Yeah.
I have to be strong. That's always been my thing. I've got to be strong, because if I'm not strong, then you won't like me. Then other people, because I'm a leader.
And just so people know, she pointed at me. Like she's saying that if she's not strong, then I won't like her, which is not accurate
at all. But in my head, it's like, I know, well, Cornelius wants a strong woman, right? And I learned that very early on in our marriage. Like you want it. And I was very weak in the beginning. You have to admit, like I'm a lot stronger. It's not that I was weak. I was just emotional in the beginning.
Yeah, you were more emotionally expressive.
Yeah.
In the sense that, it was like the little bitty things, just kind of sent you overboard. And I'd be like, no.
It was manipulative.
No.
All of that.
Like, no, we ain't gonna do that. That ain't what we're
What
gonna do.
happened was I was not giving myself room and I was like suppressing, right? Because I got to be strong. I got to be the strong one because I'm the leader. You're a leader. You're this, you're that. You have to be strong. So it goes back to that perfection bubble. And it's like that bubble had to be burst. And it had to show me that, you know what? You can plant a church and you can love people as much as you want to. And I'm not saying that we're perfect, but people can still have a perception of how things are going to be.
Well, they'll still have a narrative. People
have a narrative.
People walk. They'll walk right into the church. You'll love them. Buy their groceries. Help them with their rent. Give them a car. You'll do all these things for them, and then they'll still come up and call you names and then talk about you. And it's sad, but I think even for that, one thing I've learned is that people are people. Everybody's hurting in some area. Everybody's going through something that they don't talk about, and ultimately, unfortunately, the seeds they sow in those time periods, it always comes back to harvest. But, putting a period on that also goes into the other period, because that special time of the month, oftentimes comes around, not for me, but for you. That's the reason why, my baby, you've been using a Flex, this innovative period care with products that are body safe, made for comfort, and made to keep you moving. There's the Flex disc, which is a one-time use menstrual disc that fits perfectly inside your body. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about that. But baby, you want to tell them about Flex?
Yes. The thing is, like, this was my frustration with like periods and stuff, was like a lot of these cups and tampons and stuff aren't leak proof. So I would stand up and be like, hey babe,
hey,
do I have anything on my butt?
Do you see anything in my butt?
It used to be like, no, your butt looks good. What's wrong?
What's on your butt?
And I was like, no, like I'm nervous that it's going to be leaking. And one thing that I found is it does not leak. The One Flex disc can be worn up to 12 hours and it holds as much as 3 super tampons. Come on. It's not a cup. It's better than a tampon. And unlike any of the other product that you've ever seen before, also, I'm gonna say this. I don't know if y'all do this, but you can wear it for mess-free period sex.
So, what's wrong with saying that? What's wrong with saying mess-free?
I'm not sure if people are down with having sex.
Well, they do.
Because usually, it's not.
It gives them an option. They can go and get it in. You know?
So it's not a cup, but it's like flexible. It's like rubber. It's really easy to go in. And I'm telling y'all, ladies, a lot of the previous cups I've used have been so hard to get in and out. Like I just gave up altogether. But this one is actually super easy to get in and out. And it's a reusable menstrual cup. And Cosmo has also rated it #1.
Yes, y'all. So listen, with helpful videos, in-depth diagrams, gifts, and Flex experts available to walk you through the entire process, you'll never go back to products from the past once you try Flex. So gentlemen, y'all listen to me carefully. Y'all listen to this. Get this for your ladies. So that way you ain't got to go to the department store no more to pick them up. You can just order them. So say goodbye to cramps, put sex back on the table, and lend Mother Nature a hand. Go to flexfits.com/LWTL and use code LWTL for 20% off Flex disc starter kits or 10% off your first Flex cup plus free US shipping. That's code LWTL to Flex, FLEX fits, FITS.com/LWTL. So yeah, baby, that whole thing of perfection and but here's I don't even want to segue again, but I think if you can listen to this, if there's anything you can take from this particular podcast, it is the idea. One of the things I think we have to get serious about is winning souls. Yeah. Again, I just, really getting serious about, soul winning and what that looks like and why we should do it and, all those kind of things. I think that's incredibly important.
I agree. And even I shared the scripture in the beginning about being entangled in the affairs of this earth is even perfectionism for my perfect people out here can get you tied up in that same exact thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you guys, we're recording. Logan, maybe y'all go outside, baby. Sorry, y'all. This is real life with the Lindseys. We're working.
Let me go get him.
Okay.
Go ahead.
My hubby's going to go get him. But even laying down that perfection, laying down that control, you might say, how do I do that? How do I release the control? How do I let go of it? I think going into each day saying, Lord, my hope is in you and you are the perfect one. And I'm going to embrace whatever tests and trials come my way because I know these tests and trials are developing me and preparing me and strengthening me for what you have called me to do. So I'm embracing it, and I'm getting my mind off of myself and what I think other people need to be doing, because when you're a perfectionist, you're heavy on criticism and judgment, because that's how hard you are on yourself. And take all that energy and say, all right, Lord, I don't want to get distracted anymore. Like, how can I tell more people about Jesus? Like, how can I, instead of criticizing somebody else or judging somebody else, how can I love them better? I came to Jesus because people were first, I heard the word, right? But not only that, people that were trying to get me to go to church were not like, girl, you going to your boyfriend's house again tonight? Girl, you going to hell. Like, nobody, like, I didn't come to Jesus because people were trashing me and yelling at me and telling me that I was this terrible sinner.
Right.
Like, I came to Jesus because people were loving and kind and encouraging me and we're there. And then the thing is, it's like God met me there, because when I got to church and I got the word, I started realizing, oh, I can't stay the night at my boyfriend's house. This is not a good idea, right? I started to get convicted in my own life about what I should and shouldn't do along the way through the growth of just being a believer. And so I feel like we're just so distracted right now.
Yeah.
We need to get back to that place.
Yeah. How we come to learn about God is usually how we share him with others.
Yeah.
And so if you come to learn about God, he is this, taskmaster who, wants everything to be perfect, and you're not perfect, and you haven't done this right. And, God won't love you until you do it. And he ain't loving you because you ain't tithing, and he ain't doing this because you ain't doing this. Then you get into a real works-based type of mentality, which really weighs heavy on the average person who already, could grow up in a household where it's all about achievement.
Yeah.
And you notice that God the Father wasn't even like that. He said to Jesus, before a miracle was performed, before Jesus spat in the dirt and rubbed it on somebody's eyes, before he turned water into wine, before he climbed up on the cross, before he escaped the grave, the Father said to him, "You are my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased." And I think that is so important. And people usually just skip right over that because they don't see that at that point, that was a place of acceptance. He was saying, I accept you.
Come on.
I love you. Before you perform any miracle, I love you. And I think a lot of people don't have that, and they haven't had that from, guardians or something like that in their life. And because of that, they're just like, well, you don't love me, or don't nobody love me, or ain't nobody, with me, or, so they live in this works-based type of thing that if I don't perform, I'm not loved. Yeah. And one of the things I have come to find out just in the short time we've been here in LA is when I meet somebody, the first thing, they'll say is, "Hey, my name is Frank. I work for Google." And one guy, he told me, he's like, "Hey, my name is," he's like, "Yeah, and I work for," and he was telling me, what his job was. And
he told you that first?
Yeah, he told me. I mean, but that's typically what people do. And I looked at him, I said, "Great."
I guess I don't talk to enough people.
I don't like why I don't know. It's like, why did that matter? And that's why I just kept thinking about that to the point where I was like, why? But
her identity is so wrapped up.
Is wrapped up in that. Is wrapped up in who we think we are, what our job position is, what our achievement is, all those things. And that's just not it, man. If every person in the world hated me, I know that I'm still loved by the only one that matters.
Come on.
And that's enough for me. And I never have to feel low or feel down again because I know he loves me. And because he loves me, then I'll always serve him the rest of my life. It's like, who gives a flying flip? And, most of the people who probably don't like you don't have a pot to pee in or a window to throw it out of.
You go.
You know what I'm talking about?
You go.
I'm just saying, find the pot to piss in first. Then find the window to throw it out. That's that old school Mississippi.
I don't understand your saying. I really don't, baby.
What, a pot to pee in?
Right.
You don't get it?
That, and it took me 13 years to, it's better to be pissed off than pissed on.
It's better to be pissed off than pissed on. Yeah. But when we first got married, you're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, think about it. It's better be pissed off. You're like, I'm pissed off. I'm like, well, better be pissed off and be pissed on. You'll be all right. You get over yourself. You gotta get your cookie.
To be like, of course I don't want to be anybody to pee on me. This ain't no R. Kelly. What are you talking about? I was confused.
She threw the kales in it.
Right. Jesus. I was confused because I was like, And then it took me all these years to be like,
my gosh.
that's what he meant.
Yeah, but I mean, TI is what a TI is.
So let's take a break really quick, you guys. I want to talk about Thrive Cosmetics, babe.
Sure.
So I just ordered some mascara, and do you know it had my lashes growing? I'm like, yes, come through. And I love how clean it is. It's vegan. It's 100% cruelty free without the parabens or any of that other bad stuff that jacks up your skin and ages you, you guys. And what I love about them is they have this bigger than beauty mission. And the whole focus of it is how can we create this 100% cruelty free, vegan and clean product so people can use it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've used Thrive Cosmetics and you've loved it, right?
Oh yeah. I love it. I use the blush, the lip balm.
I think you even used the eye brightener.
Yep. I used the eye brightener. You ordered it for me, remember?
Yeah, I did.
I was like, will you order me some more of that?
I did. But I mean, but between the liquid lash and the brilliant eye brightener, I believe that those were the two that were on your
top selling list.
Your top selling list, which is so good. And
I need you to get me some more of that.
Yeah. And I mean, the great thing is, for every product purchased with the bigger than beauty mission, their commitment is to support nonprofit partners with donation of funds or products. And that's truly unique. And that's extremely inspiring too. And I mean, how is this beauty brand that goes beyond just being skin deep? Hey, y'all, listen, we love everything about Thrive Cosmetics. Their products are the best we've ever used, and their bigger than better mission is truly inspiring. Now, you're going to love them as much as we do. Visit thrivecosmetics.com/LWTL for 15% off your first order. This is an exclusive offer, so you can only get it here. That's right. We're exclusive, baby. That's Thrive, THRIVE, Thrive Cosmetics. CAUSE, Cosmetics, METICS. Again, it's CAUSE, METICS.com/LWTL for 15% off your first order. ThriveCosmetics.com/LWTL.
Yeah. Back to your little sayings, y'all. I just be like, I don't know what my baby's saying. And then I just, But how can we tie all this together? So in the beginning, we talked about we need to wake up to what's happening in the world today. And then we talked about we need to not be so judgmental and critical of other people and their journey and along the way.
Yeah.
And then we just talked about our goal and our focus needs to be to bring souls to Christ. And that should always be our goal. And you got to ask yourself, is what I'm doing in my everyday life bringing people closer to Jesus or pushing people away? Am I part of the problem? Am I doing my part to push others away? Am I tearing down others? Am I gossiping about others? Am I looking to not build up, but tear down constantly? I feel like it's a good heart check. Like, where are you at right now? What's your temperature?
It is. And I think I love the way that you explained it because it really takes me back to the holy disposition. And I've talked about this before in the past. But a good holy disposition is the way we look up and we see a holy God. We look within and we see a deprived individual, and then outward we look outward and we see a world that's in need. So in the beginning we were talking about the people, the heart, really just understanding, okay, what is our relationship like with God right now? How do we see him and how are we seeing the gospel? Are we arguing about semantics or are we still arguing about things that really,
people don't know what semantics are. You need to explain what semantics
Well, I'm talking about like those little bitty small things. Like people are still arguing, whether or not you should tithe or you shouldn't tithe. Should women preach? Should, people still arguing about, the type of clothes you can wear when you preach, or the type of preaching, the type of preaching that you should use, the type of Bibles you should use. So we're arguing, we're in the weeds. We're in the weeds arguing about these things when people are actually, dying just for the main thing. So it's how we see God, then it's how we see ourselves. And that was a good segue when you were talking about rejection and everything. Really doing some introspection and saying, okay, where am I at right now?
Yeah.
Am I healthy? And then from there, when you see, oh my goodness, I see how much grace and mercy I need. Then I go outward and I say, man, there's a world out there that's in need of help. And then I want to become a true soul winner. And here's the great thing about it. If you never won a soul to Christ and you don't know what true joy is, it is the most joyous thing when somebody passes from death to life. people will argue me all day long and talk about, well, I was born a certain way. I was born a certain way. I don't care how you were born. All I'm concerned about is you being born again.
Come on.
I won't argue with you with science. You can have the whole debate. You can argue with somebody else about that. I don't care. I don't care how you were born. I just want you to be born again. Yeah. And then the Holy Spirit can do the rest of the work on the inside of you. But it is you being able to see the outside world as they are, winning souls. And here's the greatest thing. You share your testimony.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to know. You don't have to know a ton of scripture. It's a quick story. I want to tell this quick story, but I want you to close this out.
Okay.
There's a story. There was a young boy. He's probably in his late 20s, and he went to the church in the city, and he went to the church in the city on a Wednesday night. It was a revival night, and he heard the preaching, and he went down to the front. He said, "I want to be saved." The preacher looked at him. The preacher said, "You can be saved." And he went through the whole process with him, shared Jesus with him. It went over the book of John. Boom. He believed in Jesus Christ. The next night he came to the revival meeting. He sat there that night, loved it. He came back that Friday night, came to the revival meeting, went back on Saturday, went to prayer. He went there on Sunday morning. He sat there during service. After service, went up to the pastor and he said, "Hey, give me a church." And the pastor said, "Well, give you a church?" He said, "Yes, give me a church." He said, I'm going to preach. Give me a church. And the pastor, he said, "Oh, you're not ready yet. You just got saved. You're not ready yet." So he said, "Okay." So the boy left the church. He went over to another little church down the street. He went to the pastor. He said, "Give me a church." Pastor said, "No, I can't give you a church." He said, "I don't even know you. I don't even know who you are." And he said, all right, that's fine. And he went over to the other church. He said, "Hey, give me a church." Pastor, "I don't know who you are. Go somewhere." And so the young man, he found an old building out in the country somewhere. And he said, "My goal here is to get a church." And there he started preaching and people started coming. And pretty soon people who were going to those other 3 churches, they start leaving those churches and they start going to that little country church down with that young man he was preaching. And oftentimes he didn't know all the scriptures that he was talking about, but he was just sharing his testimony and he was preaching with passion. He was preaching with power. And people from miles and miles started to come until that church just started to grow and bust through the seams. And I tell you that to say this, that oftentimes we think that we need all this intelligence. We need to know all the Bible, need to know all of this, need to know all the theology, need to know all of this crap. When at the end of the day, the greatest sermon you can ever tell is your testimony.
So good.
And that boy told his testimony and he was able to build a church and build a people because people saw authenticity.
That's real.
They were able to look at him and say, "I can follow him because I see something that's real."
It's real. And I feel like that's why a lot of people
We'll close them out, baby.
Sure, baby. I feel like that's why a lot of you guys listen to us, because we keep it absolutely 100 with you guys. We love you. We appreciate you guys just always supporting us. Make sure you follow us on Life with the Lindseys on Instagram. And I'm Heather L. Love on IG. And Cornelius is This is Cornelius. And we will be chatting with you guys next week. Love y'all.